Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC and this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm bringing you guys the match preview for our game against QARABAG at 5 PM today. You guys don't forget that it's at 5 PM today. And also a quick reminder, if you haven't pressed the bell notification sign, please press that. It only takes you a second, and stay notified to all things Blue Lines TV, because the majority of people don't ever realize when a new video has come up. But anyway, getting straight into the match preview. By winning this game, it means that we qualify, and also we have to hope that Atletico Madrid do beat Roma, because if they do, our chances of topping this group are even greater. And honestly, I really feel that we should top the group because we have the potential to get an easier opponent in the round of 16. Now, if we were to come second, the issues we have are that a lot of the other English clubs are most likely gonna top their groups, and of course you can't play against any team from your own nation in the round of 16, meaning we'd be realistically left with Besiktas, Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain. And to be honest, Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain are probably the two most informed teams in the world, and I don't really want to take my chances against them so quickly in their next knockout round stage. Of course, there are difficult opponents in the round of 16 if we were to top the group, but realistically that's most likely going to be Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. But our chances to play much smaller teams are even greater. So really, it's imperative that we do top the group. Now, we're playing QARABAG in Baku, and it's going to be a much more different game. Now, we did play them earlier on and we did thrash them 6-0. And honestly, I kind of think maybe it's because QARABAG is their first time playing against, teams of this standards in Europe. They didn't really adjust quickly. They weren't really used to the tempo especially. And I think tempo is one thing that normally comes against them. For example, I've been checking the statistics, and they've been running on average nearly 3.5 kilometers less than every team they've played so far in the Champions League. So when you watch them play, it's not that they don't put any effort in, it's more to the fact that obviously with their facilities at their club, obviously the league they're in, example, they don't have that type of real match fitness. So it's natural that as the games go on, they normally tire, and then you have easy opportunities to actually get goal scoring opportunities. QARABAG will likely try and keep with their 4-2-3-1/4-1-4-1. And they will look to keep possession. They like to play out from the back, as we have seen, but really when it comes to penetrating in the final third, this is where they've really been, falling down in Europe. And Lovu's their danger man. He's actually come back. He's the only one that's really impressed me so far. In my opinion, I feel he can play at a higher level. He was leading the line by himself, good dribbling by himself, linking people in, not afraid to take shots. But when it came to penetration out wide, there was no threat. Pedro Henrique, the Brazilian winger that was playing at Stade Rennes last season, in the Champions League, even though he did score against Roma, he's been so-so when it's come to playing in the final third. Another guy is Medov, the guy who's the 20-year-old Azerbaijani player who's supposed to be a big prospect back in his home country. Again, at this level, he hasn't really had too much success, even though he does have a lot of pace. Their manager Gurbanov has stated today that they're going to really fight and do everything they can to make this game as hard as possible. It's their last game in Baku, potentially it's their last game in the Champions League for this term, and they want to go out with a bang, and they're going to try their best. And honestly, since we did thrash them 6-0, it's been a completely different team. They undefeated against Atletico Madrid, and they only lost 2-1 to Roma. And when looking at the stats against Roma, the game was pretty even. Very even in terms of chances created and the possession. Against Atletico Madrid didn't take a lot of their chances. That's been the story of their campaign in the Champions League. Being very poor in the final third, being very poor with their finishing. They should have beaten Roma, they should have beaten QARABAG twice. But QARABAG definitely learned something from their first game playing in the Champions League, and their approach has been completely different. They haven't been as open. They don't just keep the ball unnecessarily. They like to be very compact with their possession. In a way, it hasn't been as fluid as they like to play, but by playing in a more kind of static manner, it's not leaving them too exposed from behind all the time. They have one massive weakness, though, and that is their ability to defend set pieces. Now, especially in the Champions League, they've conceded 3 goals from that, which is the highest in the Champions League. And playing against Chelsea, really, that is one of our good qualities when it comes to attacking set pieces. Now, I finished talking about QARABAG and what I think their strengths and weaknesses are going to be. Now, moving on to our threat. In my previous Predict That 11 video, I did say that I did feel we were going to use a 3-5-2. It just makes the most sense, and really against a team like QARABAG, the late man in behind movement from the midfield three, obviously the partnership with Morata and Eden Hazard, the wing backs creating width and really hugging the touchline. I really feel that's going to create a lot of problems for QARABAG. Especially, I do think that we will get another early goal, and I think that they definitely won't be able to handle Eden Hazard and Morata because they will be playing in those central positions. They have the ability to keep the ball in tight spaces, play each other in, beat a man for pace. Honestly, it's going to be a very hard fixture for them, especially when Pedro Henrique won't be playing and he's not going to be there to help shore up the midfield because he's suspended because obviously he picks up a red card against Atletico Madrid. So that's going to be a big loss for them, for their midfields. Now, originally in my Predict That 11 video, I did feel that Conte would use a strong team and then he would make a lot of early substitutions in the second half. But on a further note, I think maybe there's a possibility that maybe a Drinkwater might start in this game. We might be seeing the likes of a Pedro playing later on too. I don't think necessarily in terms of starting. I still do feel that it's important that we do get this win. You know, we have to. QARABAG haven't conceded many goals. You know, since we beat them 6-0, they've only conceded 3 goals in their last 3 games against Atletico Madrid twice and Roma. Still, it's going to be quite interesting to see what type of substitutions Conte will make during the second half. It seems that Dejan Sterling isn't playing against QARABAG for the Chelsea under-19s. It looks like he might even have a place on the bench and potentially could get some game time, which could be pretty decent. I'm guessing Conte's thinking, you know what, Moses, I want him back for the game against Liverpool. But if there's a chance that he might not be fully fit, I don't want to have a tired Zappacosta because I'll need him. Maybe he might decide to take off Zappacosta later on in the second half and give Sterling the last 20-15 minutes. Also, it's going to be interesting to see whether David Luiz plays. You know, looking at Conte's press conference, the impression I kind of got was it was a tactical decision he kept saying, and it seemed to do with the fact that he wasn't fully fit. And if that is the case, I think that makes a lot of sense. And you know, I've been saying for a while that David Luiz isn't fully fit, and it's been no surprise why he's been making some, I wouldn't say massive mistakes, but in terms of winning his duels, he's not winning all of them as much as he would be, and it's natural. I mean, you know, if your knee's injured, you can't jump as high, you can't turn as quickly. If you've got a broken wrist as well, you know, physical contact with your hands, using that against opposition players, obviously it's naturally going to take a toll. And as I did state earlier on, playing QARABAG in their home is going to be completely different. The 3-4-3 is a possibility in this game, but in my personal opinion, I feel that tactical consistency is probably the best thing. Now, it looks like we're switching to a 3-5-2, especially when we're playing Liverpool on Saturday. But as I was saying, as the game goes into the second half, I do see us switching to a 3-4-3. I think the wide areas is where we're really going to dominate against QARABAG. That's an area there they haven't really been able to cope too well, in my opinion. That first game at home in Stamford Bridge, we completely dominated them in those areas. Zappacosta had the license to get forward whenever he wanted. The same thing for Alonso as well. Even then, Alonso has come out stating that he feels that, you know, he has been playing with a bit of tiredness, which I have been stating. I mean, it's been, you know, fairly obvious. His recovery running, you can tell when Alonso is fully fit and when he's not. But I think a game like QARABAG is going to be easier for him because that intensity is not necessarily going to be there on the flanks. I am expecting goals in this game. Why? Because with Kante sitting in front of the back three, that's going to give a lot of license and freedom for our midfield to actually push in and join the attack. And this is why I really like it, because we create overloads when we play like this. And when you look at most big teams, they always play by creating overloads. I mean, for example, Real Madrid, when they were thrashing Apoel in the Champions League, whenever they were putting a cross in or playing someone in the box, they had about 3 or 4 players in there. That's how it's supposed to be. And recently with this formation change, we've been creating those type of overload situations where we are flooding people in the opposition box, and that is how you create chances. And I really expect us to create a lot of overloads in the final third against QARABAG. Now it's going to be much more difficult for them because originally we did use a 3-4-3. Now we've got a completely different system. Now they're going to have to really change their approach to really try and stop us. But what I really like about this 3-5-2, which I'm going to do a video on for next week. Now, what's my score prediction for this game? I don't see us conceding a goal. I feel like just as we played QARABAG in the first game at home, they weren't able to create any chances really. And Lovely was isolated. I expect the same thing to happen again. He has been kind of isolated throughout the entire Champions League campaign. So I'm expecting us to get 4 goals in this game today. I think Morata's going to get another goal. I think Hazard's going to continue that form. Whenever one of them scores, the other one seems to score as well. And their assists are all coming from the fact that they're playing each other in. And I'm really liking that relationship and partnership. And it's going to be really exciting for the game against Liverpool this Saturday. But anyway, that's my score prediction for the game. Remember you guys, the game's at 5 PM today, so don't forget that. And quick reminder, if you haven't pressed the bell notification, it's just your 3rd, 4th, 5th time watching my videos, it's about time you press it and stay notified to all things Blue Lions TV. I'm going to be bringing the match review out probably 15 minutes after the game ends, so stay tuned for that. And make sure you pay attention on Twitter as well, because I'll be releasing the time then. Thank you for watching today's match preview. I'm the NEFC, this is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.